to us today?
Because he was in the army and he
All right. You know what, Lexi, I put a chair right there for you. A chair for Dad. And our first thing was just tell us about your military experience. Something that you can start wherever you want and tell us what you think we would know, and then we'll ask you some questions. And you're welcome to sit, too. You have a chair right behind you. Get comfy.
I guess I'll start with the beginning. I joined the Army when I was 17 years old. And because I was only 17, my mom and dad had to sign a permission slip for me to go into the Army. It's like you guys, when you go on field trips, mine had to sign one so I could join the Army. And I was in the Army for 8 years. I had 3 tours overseas. Being in the military, I got to go to lots of schools. I got to go to a school called Airborne School, where I learned how to jump out of airplanes and parachute down. I went to a school called Air Assault School, where you got to rappel from helicopters. And I also got to go to EMT school to learn how to help people, and lots of first aid training. I got to do lots of traveling. I've been to all sorts of places. I've been to Vietnam. I was stationed in Hawaii. I got to go to Australia and Germany and lots of countries throughout Eastern Europe. What else? I got to go to Alaska in their winter and jump out of an airplane when it was negative 70 degrees. I was very cold and I was not very happy. So, do you guys have any questions about those things yet?
like I wondered if the rope where you pull the parachute, I wondered where it was.
In the military, we actually use something called a static line. And your parachute, which is on your back, has a rope tied to it. And that rope is attached to the airplane, so you never pull a cord. You jump out the door and you fall for about 4 seconds and it pulls all by itself. Because you have so much gear on you that if you did have a pull cord, it'd be kind of hard to find.
How high was the airplane?
How high was the airplane? Not very high, because you don't want to parachute for very long, so we jumped between 1,200 and 1,800 feet.
When you jumped, or it was snowy out, how much clothes, snow, stuff to keep you warm you had on?
Lots. Because when it was already negative 70 on the ground, and so when you're up in the airplane, you're going so fast it's a lot colder. So we had on long underwear, regular pants, special Gore-Tex pants and boots. It was very hard to walk. No, you really don't want to land in water. You have 2 things right here, or 4 actually. You got 2 in front of you and 2 behind you, and they're called slips. And if you pull one way, you'll turn that way. And so you try to turn and not land in water because it's hard to swim with all that gear. And when you land on regular ground, you do a special landing called a PLF, or a parachute landing fall. And they teach you for about 2 weeks how to do that. You land with your feet first, and then you fall to your knees, and then your butt, and then you roll onto your back. And so that way it doesn't hurt when you fall.
Do you have any uniforms?
I do, and I brought them to show you guys. Would you like to see them?
Yeah! My cousin is an army guy. Did you?
Alton. Wait for him to show it to us. And we're going to raise hands when we have questions.
You want to hold it for him? This is called your BDU uniform. This is what you wear every day, pretty much everywhere you go. And on the uniform, on your collar, you have your rank. When I got out of the Army, I was a staff sergeant. Then, of course, you have your patch that says Army. You have your name patch. And then on your left shoulder, you have what unit you're in. And this is the patch for the 25th. And then on your right, under or above your American flag, if you go to combat, you have what's called a combat patch.
An American flag. I have that on my shield.
And then on your pocket, you have this right here is called a combat infantryman's badge, which means I served over a year in combat. This is my airborne patch, which we talked about since I jumped out of airplanes. And this is my air assault badge. That's a helicopter. It's kind of hard to see.
Oh, it does look like a helicopter. And that's a helicopter.
And this is our dress uniform. And on your dress uniform, everything's very, very shiny. And it takes a long time to get that shiny. And on this side, you have the same patches. But on this one, you'll see I have a different patch. When I got out of the Army, I was in a different unit, so I had to have different stuff. And then your rank's a lot bigger. And then on your left sleeve, your left sleeve, this is for how many years you were in. And you get one for every 3 or 4 years. I can't remember because I never kept up with it. And then on your right sleeve, these stripes are for how many times you went to combat. This cord right here is the infantryman's baby blue cord, and only infantrymen get this. So when you join the Army, if you see, or not if you join the Army, but if you see a soldier wearing this and you see this cord, that means he's infantry. And instead of having rank right here on your collar, it has the symbol of your job. Since I was infantry, I had 2 cross rifles. And then here is all your medals. I can't tell you what all of them are because I don't remember all the names. This purple one here is a Purple Heart. This is an Army service. That is a Good Conduct. And this is the same as on my other uniform. It's the Combat Infantryman's badge. And then this one right here, sorry, let's hold it up, shows there's little pieces that hang down, and that's for all the different weapons that you qualified expert on. The helicopter is easier to see on this uniform, and that was for the rappelling on a helicopter.
Where?
And then up here is your regimental crest, and on your shoulder blades you have to wear the crest that you're actually in. But over here on this pocket, you can wear what's called a unit affiliation, and you can wear the crest of your favorite unit you were in. And I wore the Wolfhounds because that was the unit I was in that I deployed with the most. Is there any questions about the uniforms?
When did you get them?
Well, that's a really good question because I don't even remember. When you're in the service and you're not overseas in combat, when you're back, you do lots of training. You're going all over the world, you're going to different schools, you're doing lots of training. So throughout the 8 years I was in, I accumulated all of those. Okay.
How old are you?
I'm 31 years old now.
Where'd you get that?
Which one? This one? Well, this is my second one because I got a little bit bigger than I was when I was 17. But when you go through basic training, they issue you one. And I actually had to buy this one from the Piatt because I got bigger. Like this.
And I got this bracelet. And it snaps on. And that's kind of like mine. Only that is bigger. It snaps on in your wrist.
Yeah, those are actually kind of designed after this. And we wore bracelets like that in the Army too, because, I don't know if you know, but there is 15 to 20 feet of what they call 550 cord, and that can hold up to 550 pounds. So if you're out in the woods and something goes wrong and you're by yourself, you can take your bracelet off and use the rope to help you get out of trouble. Yep, the rope part comes apart.
Have you went through any? Have you went through all through balls and stuff?
I have. And these are the only pictures I could find, so we'll pass these around. This was my basic training picture. And when you guys look at the little picture, you'll notice that the uniform looks a little different. That is called a desert combat uniform because we wear different colors of camouflage for different environments. And so when you're in the desert, if you wore this uniform, the forest camouflage, you would stick out. So we wear the desert. The other kid is my little brother.
That's your little brother? His name is Timmy. Why is I see him. No. It's alright. Does he come here?
He lives in Alaska. He is a pilot now.
Go to the bathroom. No, you're not. You're not.
Did you want me to just keep going?
Oh, well, I just kind of put like, just those were just some random sort of samples. You have probably something you want to tell us. That's what tell us what you want us to know about your experience.
Alright.
Okay, while we're looking at the picture.